So we're now recording. Let's get this thing up on here, get it started. Yeah, our little picture's gonna be in the way again, although, you know what, I think I can hide that.
You're just getting smarter and smarter.
Okay. But I can't get rid of that. I don't know what to do with that, so. Okay, so 1 Samuel chapter 9, starting verse 1, there was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, son of Abiel, son of Zeror, son of Becherath, son of Aphiah, a Benjaminite, a man of wealth. It's important. He had a son whose name was Saul, a handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Israel more handsome than he. He stood head and shoulders above everyone else. Wow, tall, dark, and handsome. Look at that. Kish, the name Kish means hard or difficult. Kish is Saul's father. You know, we don't hear about him very much, but the name does pop up a few times in the rest of the Old Testament. So if we just keep that in mind as we move along, and you read your own, read your Bibles on your own at times. So he was wealthy and influential. Abiel means my father is the Lord. Zeror means root. I like these names. I like the way these come about. Becherath means firstborn. Aphiah means speaking. And Benjamin means son of the right hand. So now Saul asked of God. Saul means asked of God. Okay. And he was tall, dark, and handsome. So now the donkeys of Kish, that is where the wealth comes from. Donkeys. Saul's father had strayed. So Kish said to his son Saul, take one of the boys with you, go and look for the donkeys. I told y'all this story, didn't I? Mm-hmm. This was one of my Old Testament research papers I had to turn in. I used this text for that because I just love the story of Saul and his childhood. He passed through the hill country of Ephraim and passed through the land of Shalisha, but they did not find them. And they passed through the land of Shalim, but they were not there. And then he passed through the land of Benjamin, but they did not find them. So notice there's threes, but they did not find them. They were not there. They did not find them. 3 is an important number because that usually implies divine. Divinity is somewhere involved. When a good example is that's similar to this is when Jesus is confronting Peter for the first time after he denied him. Feed my sheep, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. Same thing. There's a divine interaction going in here whenever something is repeated like that 3 times. Shalisha means 3. It's believed it's down off the map. It's down here, but it's believed to be land of the 3 rivers. Even though Shalisha just means 3. Shalim means jackal, fox. So take it as you will. Somebody probably walking through there saw a fox and, oh, we're going to call this whole land of the fox. When they came to the land of Zuph, Z-U-P-H, God said to the boy who was with him, Saul said to the boy who was with him, let us turn back or my father will stop worrying about the donkeys and worry about us. But he said to him, there is a man of God in this town. He's a man held in honor. Whatever he says always comes true. Remember that? Remember what we said about Samuel as he was growing up? He knew the Lord, meaning he knew how to read the Torah. The Lord was revealed to him, and everything he said was true. This is just keeping that up. Whatever he says always comes true. Let us go there now. Perhaps he will tell us about the journey on which we have set out. Then Saul replied to the boy, but if we go, what can we bring the man? For the bread in our sacks is gone, and there is no present to bring to the man of God. What have we? The boy answered Saul again, here, I have with me a 1/4 shekel of silver. I will give it to the man of God. Tell us our way. Formerly in Israel, anyone who went to inquire of God would say, come, let us go to the seer. For the one who is now called the prophet was formerly called the seer. Okay. That was just, you notice this in parentheses, it's just a little bit of information that the writer is giving us there. A 1/4 shekel of silver is about 1/10 of an ounce. 3 grams or so. So, and you know, you can do the math. What is it? Anywhere between $40 and $80 an ounce typically. So between $4 and $8.
How did the
Of our-
servant come to have silver?
Well, we never know, but remember that Saul's family is wealthy. It may have just been part of his wages. Who knows? A gift was a common courtesy to take to a prophet or a seer, someone in leadership. And we'll see that actually play out several times as people go to see others in other types of roles. So Saul said to the boy, good, come, let's go. So they went to the town where the man of God was. As they went up the hill to the town, they met some girls coming out to draw water and said to them, is the seer here? They answered, yes, there he is just ahead of you. Hurry, he has come just now to the town because the people have a sacrifice today at the shrine. As soon as you enter the town, you will find him before he goes up to the shrine to eat. For the people will not eat until he comes, since he must bless the sacrifice. No, if we're ever at a fellowship dinner, don't wait on me. Afterward, those eat who are invited. Now go up, for you will meet him immediately. So they went up to the town. As they were entering the town, they saw Samuel coming out toward them on his way up to the shrine. So, any young, tall, dark, and handsome guy sees girls running up to him, that's always a nice sign for us. So, so they find the town, they inquire of Samuel, they tell him where he is, but you better hurry, because once he gets there and they start eating, good luck, you're not going to be able to talk to him, because he's going to have his mouth full. Now, the day before Saul came, the Lord had revealed to Samuel, tomorrow about this time I will send to you a man from the land of Benjamin, and you shall anoint him to be ruler over my people Israel. He shall save my people from the hand of the Philistines, for I have seen the suffering of my people, because their outcry has come to me. When Samuel saw Saul, boy, that's a alliteration there. The Lord told him, here is the man of whom I spoke to you. He it is who shall rule over my people. Then Saul approached Samuel inside the gate and said, tell me, please, where is the house of the seer? Samuel answered Saul, I am the seer. Go up before me to the shrine, for today you shall eat with me. And in the morning I will let you go and will tell you all that is on your mind. I'm going to give you a little bit of my 2 cents and also tell you what should be on your mind. So, the word used for reveal in the Hebrew, it literally means uncovered his ear. So the Lord, up that right there at the very top, kind of covered up. The Lord had revealed to Samuel. The Lord uncovered Samuel's ear. Is what that literally says. So,
my translation says, will tell you all that is in your heart.
Yeah, heart and mind. Yeah. Just so Samuel didn't get the message, God points Saul out. So he revealed to him the day before, but as Saul's coming up, the Lord tells him, hey, here's the man of whom I spoke to you. So, no going back, Samuel. I know you don't like the idea, but here you go. As for your donkeys that were lost 3 days ago, give no further thought to them, for they have been found, and on whom is all Israel's desire fixed, if not on you and all your ancestral house. Saul answered, I'm only a Benjaminite from the least of the tribes of Israel, and my family is the humblest of all the families of the tribe of Benjamin. Why then have you spoken to me in this way? Now, Saul hasn't mentioned the donkeys yet, at least in the reading that we've done. And so the Samuel announcing it here tells him, he lets him know that I've seen all. It's been revealed to me, so I know about the donkeys being gone. Samuel asked the question here sarcastically, on whom is all Israel's desire fixed, if not on you and on all your ancestral house? Samuel is not very happy with God making, basically forcing him to anoint a king over the people. Samuel still thinks that this is a bad idea, and he's not afraid to tell the Lord that, but it is the way it is. And unfortunately, Samuel's sons, we start to see a little bit. Remember Eli and his sons? Samuel and his sons are similar, although not as evil, but close. So Saul hasn't mentioned the donkeys yet. Samuel asked a question. Okay, a humble response from Saul here, even though if he wasn't completely honest. Remember, his family is prominent. I'm only a Benjaminite from the least of the tribes. And not only that, my family is the humblest. Really? You're wealthy. But, does wealth and humility go hand, are they mutually exclusive to one another? I think they can go together. So
But is it possible that Saul didn't really see his family as wealthy and influential?
possibly.
Because he's young, right?
He doesn't have any money. He has to use the servant's money.
Yeah, so,
Very good point, Carol.
That blows me away. The servant had the silver.
yeah,
Then Samuel took Saul and what does that say? And his servant and brought them into the hall and gave them a place at the head of those who had been invited, of whom there were about 30. So you got 30 of the most influential people in the town that are at this dinner, and all of a sudden Samuel comes in with these two dirty boys. You know, they've been walking for 3 days, and seats them at the most prominent seats there. So how would you like to be the one that was already seated there and got told to get up? Jesus talks about that too. You know. Samuel said to the cook, "Bring the portion I gave you, the one I asked you to put aside." The cook took up the thigh and what went with it and set them before Saul. Samuel said, "See, what was kept is set before you. Eat, for it is set before you at the appointed time, so that you might eat with your guests." So the place of honor and the special portion. And we talked about how the Levites and the priests were given food through their sacrifices, the portion they took and all that. The portion that was set aside for Samuel, the thigh, which a big, you know, it's a big fatty piece, or well, not fatty, but you know what I mean, very, very good piece. And he gives that to Saul. And in a place, Samuel becomes the humble one here by giving the portion of honor to Saul, this dirty boy. So Saul ate with Samuel that day. When they came down from the shrine into the town, a bed was spread for Saul on the roof, and he lay down to sleep. Then at the break of dawn, Samuel called to Saul on the roof, "Get up so that I may send you on your way." Saul got up, and both he and Samuel went out into the street. As they were going down to the outskirts of the town, Samuel said to Saul, "Tell the boy to go on before us, and when he has passed on, stop here yourself for a while, that I may make known to you the word of God." I wonder what that message might be. Yeah, tell your servant, go on ahead. We're going to talk for a few minutes. Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it over his head and kissed him. He said, "The Lord has anointed you ruler over his people Israel. You shall reign over the people of the Lord, and you will save them from the hand of their enemies all around. Now this shall be the sign to you that the Lord has anointed you ruler over his heritage. When you depart from me today, you will meet 2 men by Rachel's tomb in the territory of Benjamin at Zelzah. And they will say to you, 'The donkeys that you went to seek are found, and now your father has stopped worrying about them and is worrying about you, saying, what shall I do about my son?' Then you shall go on from there further and come to the oak of Tabor. 3 men going up to God at Bethel will meet you there. One carrying 3 kids, another, that's 3 lambs, yeah. Another carrying 3 loaves of bread, and another carrying a skin of wine. A kiss is a sign of support. Heritage, that is up here, ruler over his heritage. That's God's heritage. So ruler over his people. Zelzah means noontide. So when you depart from me today, you'll meet 2 men by Rachel's tomb in the territory of Benjamin at Zelzah. The translation there could be an actual area called that. Most scholars believe that it's telling him you're going to meet him about noon. So keep walking until it gets about noon, and that's where you're going to find them. And then Tabor means purify. So there's a lot of imagery in the names of the area. This oak of Tabor, this oak of purifying. Ugh. And the 3 men are going to be up there, 3 men of God. They're going to meet you there. And I wonder what these 3 lambs and 3 loaves of bread and a skin of wine have to do with any of this. Let's find out. They will greet you and give you the loaves of bread, which you shall accept from them. After that, you shall come to Gibeath Elohim, at the place where the Philistine garrison is. There, as you come to the town, you will meet a band of prophets coming down from the shrine with harp, tambourine, flute, and lyre playing in front of them. They will be in a prophetic frenzy. Oh. Then the Spirit of the Lord will possess you, and you will be in a prophetic frenzy along with them, and be turned into a different person. Now, yeah, this is going to be a revival in a Pentecostal church setting here. Now, when these signs meet you, do whatever you see fit to do, for God is with you. You shall go down to Gilgal. Gilgal is the name of a town of several towns. It basically stones. It's an area where they've set up stones to mark the territory. So, ahead of me, then I will come down to you to present burnt offerings and offer sacrifices of well-being. 7 days you shall wait until I come to you and show you what you shall do. So bread is the proof, and Gibeath Elohim means hill of God. So Gibeath means hill, and Elohim means God. It really means God of gods, but multiple gods kind of thing. So he's told that he's given these very specific instructions. What are the odds that all these things are going to take place? In that order, at those times, with that number of people carrying those things, this is when I would tell Saul to go to Vegas. As he turned away to leave Samuel, God gave him another heart, and all these signs were fulfilled that day. When they were going from there to Gibeah, a band of prophets met him, and the Spirit of God possessed him, and he fell into a prophetic frenzy along with them. It's funny that they talk about the band of prophets here. Prophets usually went around in groups. There's safety in numbers, so they went around in groups, but they were usually led by one particular prophet. Here it doesn't say there's one particular one, but they traveled around in bands, and we see that throughout all of the prophetic books. We'll especially see it when we get with Elijah. They'll talk about bands of prophets there. But it's funny that they start talking about the prophets here. They skipped all that other stuff and just say, and all these signs were fulfilled that day. So apparently those weren't the important ones. So when all who knew him before saw how he prophesied with the prophets, the people said to one another, "What has come over the son of Kish? Is Saul also among the prophets?" A man of the place answered, "And who is their father?" Therefore it became a proverb, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" When his prophetic frenzy had ended, he went home. Yeah, I wrote down there at the bottom, he got religion. Have y'all ever heard that proverb? Is Saul also among the prophets? No, neither have I. Okay. How many of you have read this story before? A few, but typically this is one we don't read very much. But it does play an important role in how the rest of the history of Israel goes along.
But what was Samuel's relationship to Saul?
Prophet.
A prophet only, no family kinship.
No kinship whatsoever. Samuel was a descendant of Levites. Even though he was part of that priestly thing, he didn't serve in a priestly role. He served strictly as prophet and counselor, if you will.
But they were from different tribes.
Correct. Saul was from Benjamin. And one thing I haven't mentioned about Saul, there is, I don't even think I wrote it down anywhere in here, but part of my research paper stuff had to do a background on Saul and where he came from. Of course, we mentioned a few weeks ago with the battle against the Philistines, and this young man came back, a man from Benjamin, this young boy from Benjamin, telling them that, hey, your sons have died and their ark's been taken. And I mentioned then that rabbinic tradition states that this may have been Saul as a young boy. That was, don't know. There's, it's only rabbinic tradition. There's no documentation of that. There's no proof of that. But way back during the time of Joshua and just before they get to all the judges and things, the tribe of Benjamin, they do some things that aren't very good, and they end up killing a group, almost like a genocide in a way. But God had told the nation of Israel, go and kill, everybody that's in the land, they'll do anything. Well, Benjamin took it to an extreme. The tribe of Benjamin took one of the battles to an extreme. They were very merciless in their killing. The rest of the Israelites didn't care for that. And so they battled against a civil war. They battled against the smaller tribe of Benjamin and basically wiped out all but about 300 people in the tribe of Benjamin. And so Benjamin, there was a number that when they left, they were in the like 30-something thousand, and now there's only 300 of the tribe of Benjamin left. Well, when they realized what they had done, the Israelites said, we can't let this happen. We've got to make sure the tribe of Benjamin stays. We've done wrong here too. So in an effort to correct their wrong, they go and kill another group of people, steal their wives, and give them to the men of Benjamin. So they can procreate and keep the tribe of Benjamin going. So, so some of the history here indicates that maybe Saul was born into I won't say out of wedlock, but
A mixed marriage?
right, and correct. So there is already from the very beginning of Saul's birth, this idea that something's wrong. Something is inherently wrong with what's going on. Benjamin, and when he mentioned that Benjamin was the humblest, the smallest, the least of the tribes, he's not kidding. It hasn't been very long since all this happened, just a few generations. So they're probably less than 10,000 people right now as a tribe. So anyway, next, Saul's uncle said to him and to the boy, "Where did you go?" And he replied, "To seek the donkeys. And when we saw they were not to be found, we went to Samuel." Saul's uncle said, "Tell me what Samuel said to you." Saul said to his uncle, "He told us that the donkeys had been found, but about the matter of the kingship of which Samuel had spoken, he did not tell him anything." So Saul kept that quiet. Interesting that Saul's uncle was the one who met Saul and not Saul's father, Kish. A simple logical question, or he may want to know why Saul had very, very oily hair. Just the thought, nothing's ever said of that. When did he have time to wash it? Samuel summoned the people to the land of Mizpah and said to them, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I brought up Israel out of Egypt, and I rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of all the kingdoms that were oppressing you. But today you have rejected your God, who saved you from all your calamities and your distresses, and you have said, 'No, but set a king over us.' Now therefore, present yourselves before the Lord by your tribes and by your clans." So remember, Samuel told him, "I'll meet you in 7 days." This is what's going to happen over the next 7 days is you want a king? Okay, let's do this. Line up. Pass and review for those of you who are in the military. Then Samuel brought all the tribes of Israel near, and the tribe of Benjamin was taken by lot. He brought the tribe of Benjamin near by its families, and the family of the Matrites was taken by lot. Finally, he brought the family of the Matrites near man by man, and Saul, the son of Kish, was taken by lot. But when they sought him, he could not be found. They couldn't find Saul. So they inquired again of the Lord, "Did the man come here?" And the Lord said, "See, he has hidden himself among the baggage." Then they ran and brought him from there. And when he took his stand among the people, he was head and shoulders taller than any of them. Samuel said to all the people, "Do you see the one whom the Lord has chosen? There is no one like him among all the people." And all the people shouted, "Long live the king." Matrites was a group of people that Kish came from. It means reign of Jehovah. So shout, or like I like to translate it, showers of blessing.
What does the word lot mean there?
Oh, in this case, what it is, did we talk about Urim and Thummim? Yeah,
Yes.
Urim and Thummim. They were two, we kind of like call them die or whatever. Whenever they had this very important decisions, the priest or whoever was in charge of the Urim and Thummim would take those die, and the one they drew out of their pocket would be their answer from God. That's what they trusted in. So basically, he's got them all.
Game of chance.
Right, correct. And through that game of chance, it's a yes or no kind of thing. God, is this the one you want? Will it be the Judahites or the Benjaminites? Benjamin,
It's kind of
okay.
like drawing straws.
Yes. Yeah, shake it up and, except there's only two sides. So yeah, okay. Samuel told the people the right and rights and duties of the kingship, and he wrote them in a book and laid it before the Lord. Then Samuel sent all the people back to their homes. Saul also went to his home at Gibeah. I'd like to know that's the pharmacy calling me to tell me the medications are ready. It'll probably ring again before we leave. Then Samuel sent all the people back to their homes. Saul also went to his home at Gibeah, and with him went warriors whose hearts God had touched. But some worthless fellow said, "How can this man save us?" They despised him and brought him no present, but he held his peace. Samuel here, it says he wrote them in a book. He probably wrote down the requirements of the king from Deuteronomy 17. I'll let y'all go and read that when you know it. There is no palace or capital yet, so where's he going to go back to? He held his peace as though he had been deaf. He pretended not to hear. Some translations say as though he had been deaf. He heard what this guy said or what these people said, and he chose to ignore it. So you can call that a good sign of choosing your own battles or whatever. In another way, and in this case, it means that he allowed dissension to start from the very get-go, and that is not how a king should.
It looks like he really didn't want the responsibility. He was hiding out.
Well, they never had a king before. He had no clue what to do. No clue.
Well, and don't you think that we would be skeptical if all of a sudden somebody tells us this is your king?
Yeah.
There's no process.
I would like to say, it says some worthless fellows, worthless, we learned that word in the Hebrew means without profit, I would like to think that these were guys who thought they were better suited to be a king. They're jealous. But,
Yeah, this translation calls them troublemakers.
From this, we see that Saul started with a great promise. He was, number one, chosen and anointed by God. He was filled with the Holy Spirit. He was supported by a great man of God, Samuel. He was given gifts appropriate to royalty. Enthusiastically supported by most all the nation. Surrounded by valiant men. Remember, he had the guards whose heart was with the Lord go with him. Wise enough to not regard every doubter or critic as an enemy. I disagree with that one a little bit, but that was taken from my original class that I gave. So I've come to believe that it wasn't necessarily wisdom. It was naivete. So.
What gifts was he given? You said he was given gifts. He got the oil on his head.
Yeah. We'd have to go and read the Deuteronomy text. I take for granted that if Samuel's writing all this down, that they're following the steps that God, and so he would have been given some clothing. He would have been given some type of a symbol of coronation, a crown of some sort, maybe a scepter of some sort. Obviously, he's got an armed escort. Although we get to the arms here in a minute, because they didn't really have an army. So they used what they had for weapons, but we'll find that out in another battle.
Okay.
Now, Nahash, king of the Ammonites, had been grievously oppressing the Gadites and the Reubenites. He would gouge out the right eye of each of them and would not grant Israel a deliverer. No one was left of the Israelites across the Jordan whose right eye Nahash, king of the Ammonites, had not gouged out. But there were 7,000 men who had escaped from the Ammonites and had entered Jabesh Gilead. So he has come over here. On this side, see, there's Gad, and there's Reuben. So he's right over in here. The Ammonites, they were down here. So anyway, he has, or no, not down. Yeah, down there, sorry. That map is a little higher up than, we don't see Benjamin on that map of Judah. They're at the very bottom. So.
This reads a little differently.
Okay.
Nahash the Ammonite went up and besieged Jabesh Gilead, and all the men of Jabesh said to him, "Make a treaty with us, and we will be subject to you."
Oh, we haven't got there yet.
Well, but that's, That's chapter 11.
Our 10 ended before this passage was in there.
Oh, did I skip some verses?
No, I'm wondering if the translation,
27, and then it goes straight into chapter, uh, oh, okay.
From 27, it goes straight into chapter 11.
Yeah, I've still got it one chapter to here, so let me see what you got here. Oh, yeah, this is the end of chapter 10. This is the last few verses of chapter 10.
But we don't have it.
yeah,
Ah,
It's
okay.
not in-
I put a note down there at the bottom. See, the first note says, from the Samuel scroll in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That was an add-on to the text that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So,
Ah,
Which was the add-on one we have?
the one that we're reading right now, that's not in your text.
Okay.
You'll notice I do that from time to time, but I will put a note, I'm sorry, yeah, right down there at the bottom, from the Samuel scroll. And then, so there were, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, there was a copy of Samuel that was there, and this was one of the additions to that. Nahash means serpent. So now we've got another serpent that's in the Bible. Gouging out their right eye. Soldiers were rendered blind when raising their shields, which blocked their left eye. So by gouging out the right eye of your opposing force, whenever they raised their shield, typically they raised it and they would fight like this with their right side. Well, they can't do that if they don't have a right eye. Their shield blocks their left eye, and so it basically makes them
Pretty vulnerable.
very.
I guess most of them are right-handed.
Well, yeah, that's the norm, and the thing still applies today. What do we think of one? Have y'all ever noticed what the Latin phrases for right and left are?
Sinister.
Sinister is the Latin phrase for left. Dexter is the right, is the Latin word for right. So you hear ambidextrous, it means two rights. But sinister, your left eye is called oculi sinistra, your evil eye. Think about that. Yeah. So yeah, left-handedness was not considered an attribute, a virtue. So Jabesh Gilead, it means dry heap of stones. Now I think we're done. Yeah. Next time, I do this for God. Yes, yes. For the Israelites. Yes, no. For myself. No, no. We remember that Saul was anointed by God, and one of the first things it says that he's going to deliver them from the hand of the Philistines. It doesn't take very long for that for the Philistines to show back up. And that's what that means. We're going to battle for God. Yes, yes, that's a good thing. We're going to battle for the Israelites. Well, yes, but no, not that way. And I'm going to battle for myself. No, 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 no. This ain't for you. It's not for your glory. It's for God's glory. So we're going to see that. So, okay. Any questions? We've got a few minutes. I know I've got choir practice, and some other people have choir practice too. All of y'all do. That's what I was told.
So next week we begin with chapter 11. I'm still confused.
Yeah, next week we begin with chapter 11. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse you.
Well, but it tells the blinding story again. Okay.
Well, what happens is they go into Jabesh Gilead to make a treaty. Hey, send them out, and I'll only blind or put out the right eye of these people.
Such a treaty. How did you do that?
Yeah. Well,
Hope that didn't sold out.
you'll find out that it doesn't work.
Good.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, anything else while we're still on record? Anybody? If you sneeze or cough, it's coming down there too. Yeah.
I didn't think that.
Well, Sandy Patty, when she was becoming prominent, did a live album when she was young, and on there she was telling the audience, just let me know this is going to be a live audience. or this is gonna be a live album, so if you sneeze or something, it's gonna get all over the album. So. Y'all know who Sandy Patty is, right? Okay. Singer.
Christian singer.
Christian singer. She's probably, well, she's known in the secular context too. She did a wonderful rendition of America the Beautiful that gets played almost every year on TV during one of the 4th of July celebrations like New York or Boston or something. Yeah, it's but anyway. Yeah, she's a Christian. And I think we even have in our, not in our hymnal, but in our chalice of praise hymnal, the purple book, or blue book, or whatever you want to call it. There's a song or two that she made famous, although she didn't write them. Anyway, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. And say bye, everybody.
You